The caregiver should be one who is able to understand the child needs and to respect these unique challenges. Welcome back to our channel, and thank you once again for joining us in this another day in the life of living on Autistic Edge. I am Terry Ann Alain, proud autism mom, and we are here to share with you tips and tricks of how we navigate through our journey right here on Autistic Edge. Now, join me this week as we talk about an unconventional area. We want to look at the traits of a good caregiver. Caregiving is an essential part of our lives if you are dealing with children on the spectrum. And caregivers may be in the form of family member, a distant relative, or you may have to deal with strangers because you may have to hire outside or professional persons to fit or to fill in this capacity. Now, caregiving for us over the years has been a real challenge. It's very difficult to find that unique person with that best fit. And remember, not everybody is perfect. So you're going to have situations from time to time that you have to navigate around. But there are some areas of caregiving that is imperative as parents that we need to pay keen attention to. And I want to talk to us about that. Good caregiving is not just about providing physical care, right? It's about offering emotional support, building trust, which is very, very important, and creating a sense of connection with the person that they are caring for. Now, a good caregiver is someone who sees beyond the illness or the disability and they focus on the person as a whole. So you're looking at the emotional, the development, the physical. You have to care for that person on a whole. Now, when someone entrusts their loved one to you to care for, there are some signs that you must demonstrate that you are indeed a good caregiver or the person best fit for this job. So parents, when you have caregivers, these are some things that you're going to be looking out for in your caregivers. Number one, engagement and patience. The caregiver interacts warmly with the child, how they respond to your child needs, and if they show patience during difficult moments. Now, you don't want persons who are just short-tempered and short-fused and the least little thing they fly off the angle. Those persons would not really be the best fit. But as parents, we need to pay attention to those. Look at how they engage your child. All right. Number two, adherence to routine. Now, most of the time, our children on the spectrum or children with disability, you may have to establish routines in order to deal with them, and especially if they are nonverbal, because as in our case, our child is nonverbal. He's not able to tell you fully when he's hungry. He's not able to tell you when he needs this or when he needs that. So therefore, as the parents and the caregiver, we have to establish schedules and routine governing how we deal with them. So when we have schedules that are established in order to work with the child, our caregiver must be able to adhere to these routines, right? And that will include mealtime, because for us with our son, we have to establish times around which they have their meals. Now at school, there are set time on the timetable for break, there are set time for lunch. Now when you are at home, it should be no different. Set your timeline as well, have your little timetable as well at home. And even if it's not physical, it must be something that you know and communicate. But it's always best to have it, written down. So you know when it's breakfast time, you know when it's break time, and you know when certain activities are to be done. So make sure that your caregiver is able to follow these schedule, medication time, therapy time, and if your caregiver is living, then you know the bedtime routine, and we adhere to them to get them to be more functional. Number three, your caregiver should have good communication. Now, when I say good communication, they should provide updates at all time, report any incident honestly, right? Honestly and openly, and they are open for feedback. My recommendation to this is you may want to develop a notebook so the person can write notes on a daily basis, right? Establish When you establish those schedules, you must be able to give feedback on the schedule. So if I'm not around and I'm going to ask about, okay, how was the medication today, then I must be here, boy. He took the medication, but we had to do a little fight to give up the medication, for him to take the medication and all of that. Provide meaningful updates, right? Report on any incident and make sure that it is honest. Number four, respect for your child's need. Now, the caregiver should be able to understand your child's unique challenges. Now, for us with children on the spectrum, we know that from time to time, if the child doesn't get certain activities, they may want to throw a tantrum. There are time to time it was meltdown, and the caregiver should be able to identify the difference when it is a meltdown versus a tantrum, and also to understand there are some things that bother children on the spectrum. So they may have certain sensitivity. It may be noise, it may be colors, it may be different environmental factors will allow them to have certain sensitivity, and they may tend to act up when these sensitivity issues arise. The caregiver should be one who is able to understand the child needs and to respect these unique challenges that your child faces and adapt to these emotional needs and the physical needs of the child and be able to attend to them. All right. Number five, another quality of a good caregiver is one who is able to encourage independence. You help the child to develop the skills appropriately and to develop their ability. But guess what? There are some caregivers that feel that because they are the caregiver, they assist all the way. They will do the things for the child over and over. So, say for example, every day you keep giving the child a bath. Now, at some point, you need to know, allow that child to be able to bathe themselves, lotion themselves, even if they don't do it good. Encourage the child to develop the skills. So while you're working with them, you see their interest in a particular skill, you see the skill popping out, don't continue to do it for them. Now, in some situations, you may have caregivers in school and they are writing for the children. They are doing the homework for the children. And I mean, it depends on the child needs, right? But as for like in our case, we would say you're teaching the child to write, but because you're in class, you may not be able, you not have the time. You need to hurry up, write off something off of the board. So you might write it for the child. Now, that child is not going to be learning if you continue to do some things for them. So you must be able to help that child to develop their skills gradually, and that will be able to help them to be independent. All right. Number six, professionalism, calm and a professional approach when it comes to emergencies. Now, you know that when it comes to these children, there's always a lot of things happening around them. And it is important for our caregivers to be very professional when we have these emergencies and things that are happening. Because if you start getting to a panic, then you won't know what to do. A child can have a meltdown and at the same time you are there panicking and you don't know what to, because the moment you get in a panic, you have actually lost control yourself to manage the situation. right? And especially if you are alone, you're going to have to know how to navigate that situation. So it is important for us to pay attention, manage the behavioral crisis, and follow safety protocols. So you know that this child have the tendency to have a meltdown. You know that this child have the tendency to throw things and all of that. Now, what do you do in that interim, right? First, you're going to make sure safety is first at all times. And your caregiver should be one that is always able to practice safety protocol at all times. We know that this is an area that a lot of parents struggle with. I struggle with that area as well. Finding the right fit, the good fit, the best fit, it is always a major challenge. Finding the right persons, the trustworthy persons, that is a major challenge for many of us as parents. For those of us who have good caregivers, as parents, we need to respect them, because oftentimes too, as parents, we feel that they are just the caregivers and we talk down to them and all that kind of stuff. We too need to assert ourselves. We are giving the caregivers protocols. We ourselves need to be able to assert ourselves to follow those same protocols that we are asking our caregivers to follow. We should be good communicators as well. We are asking caregivers to be patient. We are asking them to adhere to routines. We're asking them to make sure that they engage with good communication. We're asking them to respect the child needs. We're asking them to do all of these stuff. We're asking them to be professional. But the reality is, as parents, are we doing the same? So this should not be for the caregivers only. As a matter of fact, as parents, we are the primary caregivers for our children. We should display some of these attributes that we are asking our caregivers to display. Those are some of the positive signs that you have a good caregiver, when they are able to follow these protocols. Next week, we are going to be talking about red flags, warning, and things that you are supposed to be looking out for. Stay tuned. Thank you once again for joining us in this another day in the life of living on Autistic Edge. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and make sure you subscribe so the next time we put out another content, you will be notified.